right, here we go. Let's thank our sponsors, like Inspect All Pest Services. Also one of our sponsors for Podcast and Force 3, Termite Pest Wildlife Control, also taking care of insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, anything in the home. Your home services there in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding area. InspectAllServices.com. Come out to Podcast and Force 3, Saturday, October 12th. Tannery Road, Buford, Georgia. Distinct Grace headlining, and Nick from Inspect All will be out there. So you can say hi to Big Nick. The Mad Dog Manny Aurora, if you got some legal issues, he's the best defense attorney in the world. Based out of Georgia, but can litigate all over the United States. You see him do a lot of big federal cases, but he'll help you out. Criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, and more. Some dip on my pop screen. Need help? Get out. That's Dr. David Markwell, markwelltherapy.com. Ridgeline Counseling has got 10 therapists in-house, 3 locations in Georgia, but can do virtual sessions. So anywhere you're at, reach out and have a conversation with the sweetest, most intelligent man that I know, Dr. David Markwell. You can email him directly, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. FPC Insurance. A lot of you probably having some insurance issues right now with that storm coming through. Not happy? Reshop that current insurance policy and go with FPC Insurance like I did. 35 A-rated companies. You can shop over 35 A-rated companies, whether it's for your house, flood, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or personal property policy. I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of you that were hit by the storm are going, I can't believe my insurance company is dicking me over. Talk to FPC Insurance. They're great. 888-308-1841, or you can email them info@fpcinsuranceservices.com or get a quote online, fpcinsuranceservices.com. My guy, your guy, Rachel Guy, my wife, looking to buy or sell a house in Florida or Georgia, she's your guy, 404-797-4600, or you can email her, IamRachelGuy@gmail.com. We can take bets when Brandon will buy his first house and get out of the basement.
Yeah, baby. I'm going to move into a shed in the backyard.
Like Woodshed Ted.
Yeah.
Alternate Power Solutions. This is another one. Bet you wish you got that home generator, that generic generator dealer, which they are, family owned and operated, offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. This is a conversation you should at least have, especially if you got hit by the storm and you don't want to be in the same situation you're in now. They have an A+ rating with the BBB. You pay nothing until the job is complete, and you are a happy customer. Get a free home assessment, 770-853-7571. I know business is booming right now for Alternate Power Solutions. Another sponsor for Podcast and Force 3. They'll be out there. PoweringGeorgia.com and get $500 off your entire installation by using the discount code Bailey. You need land clearing? Again, storm messed it up. JHM Land Solutions, family owned and operated, grading, land clearing, mulching, and tree company. They're servicing Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. There's no project too big, too small. They just want to take care of your situation. Get them to come out there, and they'll give you a great deal. Make sure you're mentioning the BS when you call JHM Land Solutions at 770-274-9120. And then Jayco Contracting, here's another one. Gutter and roofing specialist. If you got hit by the storm and your roof is not there, get a hold of Cliff Bratcher. Another guy is doing crazy business right now. 770-316-3876. And make sure you're mentioning the BS with all these sponsors. We want to support our sponsors, but licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialists covering all of Georgia. They are a platinum preferred contractor in Owens Corning, with Owens Corning, the creator of Pink Panther. Free gutter guards, by the way, the purchase of a roof. Satisfaction guarantee, commercial and residential, jaycocontracting.com. That's Cliff Bratcher, 770-316-3876. You want to sponsor the Podcast Handle Radio Show? Get a hold of me. If you want to get tickets for Podcast and Force 3 and 4, go to the website, thebaileyshow.com, for all that information. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
All right, there it is. Episode 254 of the BS. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. That right there is the B-Man, Brandon Thrasher. Hello, B-Man.
What up? We're basically FEMA with all these sponsors that can help you in this storm.
Right? You know, that's crazy. Chuck's not with us this episode. He's out saving the world, and he went back to help get some trees down and deliver gas tanks to all these people. If you listen to Tuesday's released episode 253, you heard that whole story. But yeah, I thought about that, with all of our great sponsors. Think about how, like, just about each and every one of them have to deal with this storm. And I guarantee a large percentage of our audience, whether it's the sub audience or the free audience, got hit by that storm and can use at least one of those sponsors. So I'm telling you right now, with price gouging going on and some shady characters out there, go with somebody that you trust and just make sure you tell them that you're a two-peer and you're going to be taken care of. I promise you. Not that they're going to price gouge anyway, because they're good people. We only have good people that advertise with us. But, the bad guys are out there. Chuck was talking about the price gouging and the looting out there in Evans, Georgia. I saw it going through North Florida, going up to Alabama to see my daughter the other day. I mean, it's just nasty. And it's going to take a minute for people to recoup. My friends have lost their houses in Tampa. If some of our sponsors, worked, not all of them come down here in Florida, but, a lot of people still without power. The Alternate Power Solutions is one of my favorite sponsors we've ever had, because I'm such a big fan of the home generator. We had one when we had that cabin in Mineral Bluff. You remember that bad storm at Christmas that I sent you up there on Christmas Day?
Yeah, fixing pipes.
Fixing pipes, yeah. They didn't have power up there, but our cabin had power because we had a home generator. It saved their ass, and they were stuck up on the mountain too. They couldn't get off because I think they drove like a Prius up there or something, So it's pretty bad. People are in tight spots. So use one of the sponsors of the BS. And if you missed it, you can always go back to the beginning of any of the episodes, or just go to thebaileyshow.com. All the sponsors are listed there on the website, so you can get their information and get a hold of them. Just make sure you tell them that you are a listener. You will notice that you are treated VIP when you tell them that you're a listener of the show. Couple things on Netflix I want to bring up on this episode. Brandon, have you been watching the Menendez Brothers documentary or docuseries on Netflix?
Yeah, I have. I did start it. I think about one episode. It's a 8-part series, isn't it? I think it's like 8 in there.
I don't know which one I'm on now. I know it's really good, and the scene of them taking out their parents, the brothers taking out their parents, was extremely graphic.
Yeah, I haven't got to that part. It was a late night. I was a little intoxicated. I remember part of it, but I got to go back and look again. I got confused with Aaron Hernandez and Menendez Brothers. I'm like, I thought this was about Aaron Hernandez. I'm like, oh yeah, the Menendez Brothers with other crazy Hispanics.
Did you know the story before you started watching the Netflix series?
I remember hearing something a long time ago. And then like it just kind of popped back up in my head when I heard the name. I was like, I think those are the 2 kids that killed their parents for whatever reason, but I couldn't remember the reason.
There is none. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It might be one of the dumbest. I mean, for the most part, murder is dumb anyway, right? And like when I say most part, I mean, unless you're trying to protect yourself, and I guess that's not murder, that's self-defense. But you can almost look at some people and kind of justify it. Oh, he was sexually abusing me. He was sexually abusing my mother, those kinds of things. This was absurd. Like, you had 2 kids that had everything. Their parents were extremely wealthy. They whined and complained that their dad was too tough on them. That was their big complaint, is that dad was a meanie face. And they decided to kill him and the mother. And the mother was just a victim of circumstance. And they even said that they had to kill her because she believed in him.
Yeah. No, I remember it's the, so you got the one, I don't know their names, but I know the one kid was more kind of behind it. I think he was the older one. And then he just kind of taught his younger brother into like, come on, we got to do this. Wouldn't our life be a whole lot better if we didn't have to deal with our parents, and we'll take over the company, have a lot of money?
Yeah. But then it flipped, because the older brother, the way that they get outed is he goes to his therapist, who I believe is John Ritter's kid, who's like old. that plays the therapist in the Netflix series. You know, John
Yeah, I do
Ritter.
remember that part. He's like, so I can say anything in here and you can't tell anybody?
Yeah, the guy runs down the street and calls somebody and tells them. You know, whether that's all true or not, I don't know. But he had to, I mean, it was on his conscience. And then the younger brother comes in and is like, what have you done? You know, this was supposedly the perfect crime. The cops are going to figure it out anyway. You know, like the series starts out with them at the funeral, and the older brother goes up and speaks from the heart, and you can kind of buy into him mourning. But then the younger brother goes up and gives this weird speech, and then plays, I think, Milli Vanilli, a Milli Vanilli song during the funeral for his mother. I forget what song it was, and everybody's looking at each other going, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
They're very odd kids. And the way that they killed their parents was ruthless with shotguns. And they didn't even kill him with the first shot. Like, the mother was still alive. And then they went back in and shot him again. And they tried to play it off like the mob did it. And the detectives were like, this isn't a mob hit. Mob hits aren't this dirty. Mobs don't use shotguns. You know, like, what are you doing? They didn't even do research, you know, and then they didn't even clear out their car. They still had shells in the back of their car when the cops were there. So they, you know, I haven't gotten through the whole thing, but it's just amazing that these two brats, that was their biggest whine, was dad was so mean. You know, like, we've all got problems. We've all grown up with problems. We've all had people in our lives that we don't like, that are obstacles, but I don't see myself going and shooting them because I don't like them and risking going to jail for the rest of my life and my freedom's taken away. That's absurd.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more mean people in jail than your dad not giving you, money to buy a Mercedes or something. Did they ever say like what he did that was mean, or is it just a typical, maybe spoiled kid like, oh, can't believe he won't buy me this new car. I can't believe I can't go here on vacation.
I believe it was just because he was very strict. And he said that they're not in his will anymore or something. I think maybe that had something to do with it too. It was like, because you're so damn lazy, you're not in my will anymore. So they decided to kill him.
Well, that makes sense. I would want to get back in the will and then kill him, because then if you kill him, you don't get no money.
Or maybe, I guess they killed him because they figured that he hadn't changed the will yet or not. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that part in the show. But the killing of the parents in the Menendez brother docuseries is brutal. Like, what they show is really brutal. I mean, they go in with two shotguns into the living room while their parents are watching television, and without saying anything, they shoot the dad, and they like shoot him in the knee. They shoot him in the chest. Then they blow off half his face, and the guy's like still alive. And then they just keep shooting him. Then they shoot the mother a couple different times, and she's on the ground, and she's like, why? And then they point blank shoot her again. They go out to the car. I mean, and they unload it. 6, 7 shells in these shotguns. They unload it. Then they go back out to the car, and then the younger one goes back in and shoots again. And then comes back up.
They didn't plan it very well. I don't know where they got their knowledge from to do, because this was like 2007, wasn't it? Somewhere around there.
I don't know. No, it was farther than that, because I think it was like more in the 80s.
Oh, okay. It was longer though. Oh, yeah. Maybe, yeah. But I say, if they're watching 80s movies, I can see maybe why they thought, oh yeah, we'll just shoot them with a shotgun and get out of there. No one's ever going to know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in the 80s, because you can see how they're dressed. I can tell you right now, actually.
Yeah, there seemed to be a run of people, like kids killing their parents though. Because there was that other docuseries. It was like, what has my daughter done? Did you watch that one with the Asian family? And she had her ex-boyfriend who was like in the gang come over there and tie him up and shoot her parents because wanted their money or something. It was real weird. But man, killing your parents, that's some psycho shit right there.
American brothers who were convicted in 1996 of the murders of their parents, Jose and Mary Louise Kitty Menendez. So it was 96 that they did it.
That's when they got convicted, right?
That's when they got convicted. So I'm assuming that the crime on the evening of August 20th, 1989, they went in with 2 Mossberg 12-gauge shotguns. Jose was shot 6 times, including a fatal shot to the back of his head. Kitty was shot 10 times in total before the fatal shot to her cheek. She was on the ground crawling away. Lyle ran to his car to reload before firing the fatal shot to his face. So they left after unloading, and she was still alive. And he goes back in and does it. And then they leave the house and they come back in, and when they come back a couple hours later, nobody was there. Like they even said, they're like, nobody's here. They figured somebody would have heard something.
Yeah, it's called and cops be there.
So they had to do the fake phone call, to 911 and whatnot. That's just crazy. Like there's a lot of people I dislike. There's a lot of people that have wronged me. There's a lot of people that have stabbed me in the back, but I wouldn't kill them. You know what I mean? Now, I could honestly say if they passed, I probably wouldn't go to their funeral, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't kill them. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like, there's no one that I dislike that much that I would take their life.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head either. I said, me and my dad used to get into it a lot when I was a kid. I'd be real mad at him, but I never thought about like shooting my family. Cause then it gets to the point where it's like, well, if you're mad at your dad, but you like your mom, it's like, you got to kill them both. And it's like, you don't really want to kill your mom, but she's going to rat on you or she's going to, go crazy. Right.
That's what that was their theory too. It's like, they couldn't go just kill the dad. They had to kill the mom and the dad. But there's, everybody's got a switch, right? You could, every time you see, well, now the line is when you see these school shooters, everybody says what? Oh, I could see it coming, right?
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen. I don't think with these kids, anybody saw it coming. The Menendez brothers, they look at them and they're like, no, they had everything. They were nice kids. They were well-behaved. They were polite. I could never see them doing, especially a murder this brutal. I mean, this violent. I mean, this is a pretty violent murder. You have to think how personal that is to unload 16 shells, shotgun shells, to your parents when they were defenseless. I mean, one is enough. Like, and how can you not kill somebody with one shotgun blast? Like, you have to be a really bad shot.
Yeah, where are they shooting them? Like the hands?
I think they just went in and started shooting without aiming. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I'm going, how do you go? They're on the couch. And if you really wanted to kill them, just execute them. Like say, okay, you're dead. I'm going to put it to your head. It's going to be, I still love you as my parent. It's going to be painless. But instead 16 shells. That's a lot of shells. There's a lot of bullets going out there. And to come back in and do it.
Yeah, that is kind of weird though, that the neighbors, I don't know their housing situation exactly, how close the neighbors were, but 16 gunshots in a house next door. I mean, I think you're going to hear it.
Right. That's the other thing. Well, that's what they thought too. They thought that they were going to be able to hear it. But they did not hear it. So far the Menendez thing is really, really, really good. That's one of the things. Think like they come in these like streaks, like every once in a while you'll get some good stuff on the Netflix, and then a lot of times it's just trash. There's nothing on there. But as I'm watching this Menendez Brothers docu-series, I'm sitting there and I was trying to think of the guy that we had on. God, now I just remembered. It was the guy that was the director of the bank robbery one in Seattle. Remember that dude?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that dude that we had on?
Yeah.
So I don't know how to do any of this docu stuff, but I would love to be a part of one, pitching an idea. And as I'm watching this Menendez Brothers docuseries, I'm going, there's a story that has not been told, and that is the killing of the tobacco heiress, Margaret Benson. The Benson and Hedges cigarettes?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, so Margaret, she was the heir of Lancaster Leaf Tobacco out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So it was no connection with Benson and Hedges. I always thought there was, but she still was a tobacco heir. to the Lancaster Leaf Tobacco Company. And in July of 1985, the son, Stephen, he had placed a pipe bomb in the family car, which was in the driveway of the house in which Margaret, the mother, Scott, and Stephen's sister, who was a Miss Florida runner-up, were waiting for Benson to join them when the Suburban exploded. Kendall, which was the girl, she survived but was badly burned. Margaret and Scott, which was the brother, who's a tennis player, died instantly from the bomb blast. And if memory serves, he was the son, Stephen Benson, who's the one that blew him up. He was caught because he was a dumbass, and they found all the receipts from all the stuff that he had bought. And then Stephen Benson died in the Taylor Correctional Institution in Perry, Florida, of a stab wound to the right side of his head in 2015, July, oddly enough, not too far off from when he blew up his mother and sister and brother. He had a long feud with this guy, this inmate, who was trying to extort $1,000 from him. So they had this beef for years, and he was trying to get over $1,000. And Stephen Benson refused to pay him, and eventually he got stabbed in the head. Now, the reason I bring this up is because in 1985, that was the year that I moved to Florida from Maryland. And this house where Mrs. Benson and her son and daughter were blown up by her other son was 4 houses down from the house that we were building.
Oh,
yeah. So
that's good.
yeah. So when I was a kid, I was, I guess I was 9 years old at the time. No, I was 10 years old at the time. We would go down and check on the house. We would fly from Maryland down to Naples, Florida, and we would check on the house. They lived in a community. We lived in a community called Quail Creek in Naples, Florida. And I remember one time we go down there, and their house was right on the corner. And then you'd go down the road, and our house was like 4 houses down on the right. And there was a black spot in the driveway, and then we're being told what happened. And the rumor was the guys working on our house, they were working on our house the day that the pipe bomb exploded in Mrs. Benson's Suburban, killing her, right, and her son, that her arm and her hand with her wedding ring landed in our yard.
Oh,
that's what we were told. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
That'd be brutal.
That's what I
hear a bomb. You got arms and hands flying while you're working on this house over here. Oh, God, that'd be terrible.
Yeah. And their house was literally right across the street from my friend's house that I later eventually became friends with later down the road. But that's a good story to tell, because I don't know. I never knew the story of why. I mean, why would you do that? I don't understand why you would put the pipe on. Like, do you people really think that you're not going to get caught? Like, you have to understand, the first people that they're going to look at is you. The first person they're going to look at is you. Are you that good of an actor to, one, trick the police, which is very difficult to do, right? And then 2, do you have a conscience where you can live with that the rest of your life? 3, common sense has to kick in at some point and go, is it worth it? Right? Pros and cons, the Benjamin Franklin page. Is it even worth it? And 4, like, do you really want to do it? Right? I mean, is there something you're going to miss?
Well, so he was just trying to kill his sister, right? So that way he would take over the tobacco farm. Is that what I'm following here?
No, I think he was after his mother.
Oh, okay. Oh, she was the heiress.
Yeah, she was the heiress.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was his sister that was the heiress, but it was his mom he was trying to. So why did he want to get rid of her? Just so he could take over? Was he like the next in line past her?
I guess I never found out the whole story.
Oh, so that's why you want a docuseries. So we figure it out and then talk in there, be like, yeah, man, that lady's hand landed in my yard when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know who's still alive from it. I mean, he's obviously dead. She's dead. The brother's dead. I don't know if the sister's still alive. I have no idea, but it's like one of those stories that I mean, you probably have never even heard of that, right?
No, I didn't know anything about it.
See, I always thought, and I just looked it up because of the Menendez thing. And I know I wanted to talk about it. I always thought that she was the heir to Benson and Hedges because of her name, but she was not. But she was a tobacco heiress to the Lancaster Leaf Tobacco Company, which I never even heard of, but I'm sure there's a lot of money in that. Like my friend who lived across the street, her mother was the heir to Smuckers.
Damn, he's got a bunch of heiresses in that neighborhood.
Yeah, she just passed away recently, but she was a very nice woman. But she was. Can you like? That's the other thing is most of us have to work for our money, right? We have no safety net. You know, I see it's fine if you have a safety net. You know, bless your heart, good for you. That's great. You've got parents that made money that are going to pass it down. Don't let anyone tell you that you're a bad person because your parents have money. You have no control over that. And you're not a bad person if they pass the money down to you. Yeah, I hope that you do something with your life, and I hope you do something with the money and make something of the world. That'd be nice, right? But you're not a bad person. You're just stuck in that situation. Not many people are in that situation. Not many people can go through life knowing that they'll never have to go without. So why would you screw it up?
Yeah, I don't, it doesn't make a lot of sense because, I mean, it's the, you know, I'm sure his life was pretty good. He probably got everything he wanted that, you know, and then it don't make a lot of, maybe he just wanted attention. Or maybe he just felt like he was robbed of something.
I guess. I mean, I'm 49 and begging people to subscribe to this podcast just so I can keep the lights on. These people are guaranteed millions of dollars. You know, when their mother passes or their father passes away, they want to kill them. Like, that's crazy. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, what is wrong with you? I mean, that is next level screwy upstairs. And maybe it's because they didn't, you know, have to go by the same rules as the rest of us because of all the extras that they had in life and the money that they had and what they got away with. Who knows? But to have that mindset is just nuts, to do that kind of thing, you know?
So what I'm hearing is if you're going to be a parent and you don't want your kids killing you, be poor or don't tell them you got a lot of money.
I guess. Yeah. Or just raise them right. You know, fine. I have no idea because these Menendez brothers seem like they were raised right. I don't know about the Benson kid. You know, he looked kind of, you know, sketchy, at least the mugshot that I'm seeing now. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know what you do. That's always like, you know, my biggest fear. Like I always, you know, when I had to make the decision of, you know, do I want my own biological kids, being a stepfather to Ariel and Caleb? And I had to make that decision at one time when Rachel asked me because she had to have a hysterectomy, excuse me, because they had found cancer inside. And so, I mean, that was a serious time that we were going through, but I'm usually pretty good with making decisions. I can make decisions quickly. You ask me, big or small, I can think it through and make the decision. Might not always be the right answer, but I make the decision. I'll never forget the day that she asked me, she says, do you want your own biological kids? I don't want to say own kids because Ariel and Caleb are my kids, but do you want your own biological kids? And the answer to that growing up was, of course, yes, obviously. But, you know, you take things into consideration, especially her health, which was the most important thing. And I was like, you know what? Now I'm good with these kids. Caleb was enough. I don't need it again. But my biggest fear, you know, and I never thought about it until she asked me that question, is I always feared that my kid wouldn't like me, you know, that I would have a kid that I couldn't not necessarily control, but teach and groom and program and mold in a positive way that would understand life and what to do in life. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I was always afraid that I would fail at that. You know, so you look at the Menendez brothers, you can honestly say that the parents failed. It's not their fault that they killed them, but the parents failed, right? If the parents were better parents, the kids probably wouldn't have killed them. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd say so. Do you think your decision would have been different if you hadn't had all those quarrels with Caleb at the time leading up to it on having a kid or not?
It would have been a more difficult decision to make, but the most important thing was Rachel's health.
Yeah.
So if you think like if I had to knock her up and then we had to go through 9-ish months until she had a kid, then in that 9 months, what could have happened with that cancer, you know,
Yeah.
that's a whole different story. So it was fine. It was good. I told her, I said, look, if I ever get the itch, I'll just go knock somebody else up and I won't tell you.
Yeah.
I'll Dave Grohl the situation. I'll go out there and find somebody else. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
That would be crazy though, because you would have what, like a 6 or 7 year old running around now.
Yeah, I'm also too greedy. You know, I've got I'm so busy and I'm always making myself busier. I don't have, it's tough enough to take the dogs outside. You know, I can't even do things that I want to do for myself, especially right now with this, the podcast and everything that's going along with it. Now doing with the radio stuff and our super secret special project that we're getting ready to announce here in the next week or so. It's just way too much. And to have a little kid running around, it's just, then you got to depend on people and ask favors. I hate doing that, so it's just too much. But, you look at Menendez and those brothers killing their parents. You look at the Stephen Benson killing his mother, blowing her up in the driveway. Do you say the kids are crazy, or do you say the parents could have been a better parent and raised them better so they wouldn't even thought about killing them?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, where did the idea of, killing come from to begin with, like with these kids? Like when you're young and you hear about death and dying, you don't really understand it. But so where do they learn, like, okay, killing means this and it's bad or it's good, or should I kill my parents when I get upset? Maybe they saw, I don't know, maybe the parents were abusive to each other whenever they got in an argument and the kids saw that and they're like, oh, that's how I deal with my problems, anger and violence. So I think it's probably on the parents. I mean, you got to at a certain point say, I guess it's part of the kid's fault, but I think the parents are responsible for, like, hey, if your kid's like thinking about killing stuff, or he's like stabbing rats in the backyard, like you might want to take him to see a therapist or something, because he's got something wrong in his head.
Right. Yeah. Well, you look at the Benson kid. I think he was older at the time too, but he didn't care about anybody. Like he took out his brother and his sister. He took everybody out. He just didn't give a damn. I really would like to know more to that story. But you see parents, kids killing their parents all the time, stabbing them, shooting them. Like, Jesus, dude, what did they do that was so bad? Like, I had an abusive stepfather. Now, granted, I had every right to kill that guy. As a kid, never thought about it. Not once did I ever think about it. Even after seeing that guy hovering over my mother while he was naked and her face was bloodied after beating the hell out of her, never once thought about killing him. And I knew where the gun was, but I was 6, 7. My mindset was like, you can't kill until you're 18.
Age of consent, and then I can shoot.
Right.
Well, that's like that Gypsy Rose girl at the beginning of the year. Remember, she killed her mother too. She was abusive and everything, and she still went to jail, and now she's like a big celebrity or whatnot. I just feel like it's a lot more of a headache to go through killing somebody than it is just, let's just take a step back and really think about this. Should I kill my parents? If I do get away with it, I'm gonna be thinking about it all the time, and the odds of getting away with it are very slim. So I'm gonna get nothing out of this. My parents are gonna be dead. I'm gonna be sitting in a cell for the rest of my life thinking about it every day. It doesn't seem worth it.
Right. There's like two different mindsets, right? You have a mindset of a normal, quote unquote, normal person that goes through a daily routine. Like you and I go through a daily routine. We have responsibilities. We do those responsibilities. We have friends. We have family. We have hobbies, and that's our life. Fairly boring, but that's our lives. Then you have people that have no problem killing somebody or breaking the law in an extreme way, that they know that chunks of their lives will be spent in jail. You have to, if you're going to kill somebody, you have to know that you're going through a process. One, even if you're not guilty, right, but you're close to the situation, everybody's going to suspect it was you. So you have to live with that stigma the rest of your life, knowing that someone in your inner circle is always going to suspect that you're the killer.
Yeah, it's like OJ, man. That dude, he can't walk in any room without someone like, oh, yeah, he definitely did it. Still now, like, what, 30 years later? 20-something?
He's dead now, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, before that, he was alive earlier this year.
Yeah, but he didn't care. I met him after all that. Dude seemed fine. Big old hands. Seemed fine. He was in a production room. I was like, what's up,
too small.
Yeah. I was like, do you mind if I see your hand again, sir? I'd like to check out this glove I brought with me. But you have to have that mindset where you're willing to relinquish your freedoms and spend time in jail, or at least, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I have things that I want to do. I hate it when I have to go to the dentist. I hate it when I have to take my truck in, right? Because that takes me out of my routine. Can you imagine going through that process and having to go down to the station? We need you down at the station today. We've got some questions for you.
Yeah.
We're going to be at the house. You've got a meeting with your attorney. Then it gets to the legal system. You got a court date. And that's another thing. Can you imagine being in a courtroom waiting for them to read the verdict of the rest of your life? Like that girl that just recently had the verdict read. I think she killed her mom or something. Like you're sitting there waiting. This is a great conversation with Manny. We had Manny on. Can you imagine having that conversation? I mean, having that feeling, waiting for these strangers to determine whether you should spend the rest of your life in jail or not.
Yeah, see, that's something they don't think about. I think when they kill somebody, it's like there's like two different kind of killings. Obviously, there's like the heat of the moment. They're mad. They're at a bar. They're in a fight, or they're and they just kill someone right off the bat. But then you got the crazy people who think about it on a Tuesday, and then they wake up Wednesday still pissed off about it, and they're still thinking about it. They're like, all right, instead of just thinking, let me get over this. This isn't a good idea. They're still talking themselves into it. And now they're like 24 hours in. Then comes Wednesday, and they're like, all right, I think I'm still feeling pretty good about this. And that's where you got the crazies at, where they days and days and days of just meditating and thinking about it. And then you're buying all the materials to build a pipe bomb. Like, I don't even know how to build a pipe bomb. Like, I'm sure you had to look it up, spend some time, go buy the materials, put it together. I don't know if he tested one out first, and then put it in the car. I mean, what if it didn't work and they found it? I mean, it would have been just, people don't think about some things. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can you be so blindly mad at this one person that you're planning on killing them for weeks, days, months, and you're not thinking about what's going to happen after that? Well, there's not a lot of planning there.
I've always thought about if I'm ever confronted with somebody with a gun or a knife, they're trying to rob me or whatever the case may be, and I said, I think I would try to reason with them. And I would say, I'm like, look, here are the options. Okay. Like, we get in a fight. Let's say you kill me. Okay. Now I'm dead. You've ruined a family. You've hurt a lot of people. You're eventually going to get caught. Okay. There's a good chance that somebody I know is going to come kill you. Then you're going to be dead. Okay. So if that doesn't happen, you get arrested. Then you go to jail for the rest of your life. Over what? What are you trying to accomplish right now? I have $100 on me. You want $100? Like, okay, I'll give you the $100 and just be on your way. But I don't want to give you the $100 because it's wrong. So then I'm going to be a dick and I'm going to say something and it's going to cause a thing. But like, let's look at the situation that we're in now. It's a no-win situation. And really, what are you going to do with the $100? I would rather you put the gun down. Let's have a conversation. Let's go grab a drink. And then I have a credit card. Whatever you need, I'll take you shopping. But you have to explain to me what everything is for. Like, that's, I could see myself having that conversation with the bad guy and then being like, dude, you're crazier than me right now. Like, what are you talking about? But if you ration it, like, I find it hard. That's why, remember I'd always say I wanted to have a call before you do it hotline.
Yeah.
Because I really think that in 90+% of every crime that's committed, if somebody were to take, do what I do, the physical step back before you do something, because that slows everything down. It makes you think. I learned that in my first marriage. Like, we would get in these arguments all the time and I would just react. And, I had an anger problem. I just react and I would say things that I didn't mean. And then somebody taught me, and I forget who it was, but they taught me, they said, take a physical step back. I'd have been a therapist. Like, take a physical step back, and then it makes your body start to think of the situation that you're in. So if you're a bad guy, home invasion, robbery, whatever the case may be, and you take a step, like, and you think about it, you go, is it worth it? Like, what am I getting out of this? These dumbasses that are doing these robbery flash mobs, like, you're stealing iPhones and Coach purses. Okay. Let's say $1,000. Is $1,000 really worth going to jail, having some dude touch a butthole, having it on your record, you can't contribute. It's going to be tough to contribute to society later in life unless you really turn your act around. Like, is it really worth it? Like, call this hotline. Let's talk about it for a second. Let's look at the pros and cons.
Well, I think then also like the flash mob stuff, then, I mean, most states are like, yeah, we're going to prosecute you. But then you got somewhere like California that's, if they're not holding up the law, these people are like, all right, well, I think they are rationalizing a reason. It's like, so you mean to tell me I can go in here and steal $900? As long as I get out, I'm not going to jail. I'm good. And if you do catch me, it's just a misdemeanor. I'll be out next week and I get to keep all my stuff. I think they are rationalizing it at that point. Those are like the criminals are like, all right, if we're going to rob somewhere, let's not do it in Oklahoma. Let's go to California and rob it here because consequences are as bad.
Yeah, and Colorado's even worse. It's $14.99.99. California, it's $9.99.99. But you go, okay, is it fair? Then you look and you go, is this the right thing to do? This isn't my style. I hate people that steal. I absolutely hate people that steal. Drives me insane. Work for what you get. Don't take it from somebody else that put the blood, sweat, and the tears into it. It is so that's why my dumb ass, if somebody were to try to rob me or take something from me, I would most likely fight back. I always have this vision. I've seen those videos of taking the gun away from somebody, and what you do is, most likely they'll have it in their right hand and they're pointing it at you. If you can distract them for just a split second, you take your left hand, you grab the barrel, you push yourself away from the gun, obviously. Then you take your right hand on top of their wrist and you push back on the barrel and pull down on the wrist. And then you should be able to take the gun from them in theory.
I've seen John Wick too.
Right? Yeah. There's a guy online that has all these videos of him doing it like in a split second. He's like, I'm like, if that guy can do it, I can do it. But he practices a lot. I need to buy me one of those orange rubber guns at the gun shop and sit there and practice this because I have a feeling, I don't know why, but I have a feeling one of these days in my life, I'm going to be in a situation for some reason, somebody's going to be pointing a gun at me and I'm going to have to make that choice of whether to do what they want me to do or go distraction, hand up, done, flip, gun, bam. And then what do I do? Do I say freeze, get down on your knees, or do I just open fire? That's another question you got to ask yourself.
Yeah. And is this a one-on-one scenario? Is it like you getting out of the truck and the dude's like, hey, give me your stuff?
Yeah,
like you got people with them.
Now I'm always thinking like I'm walking down an alley and some guy comes up and he does the gun thing. And then I've got to think of the distraction too. Like, what do you say? I think my go-to, I don't want to give it away in case one of the bad guys is listening, but I think my distraction would be, hey man, don't do that. Like that there's somebody behind him.
Oh yeah, but no, we're good over here. We're good.
No, we're good. We're fine. Don't worry about it. We're fine. Everything's fine, right? He's gonna be like, what? And then like that.
Yeah.
You
think there's something behind it, like, we're good, officer. We're okay. And maybe he might just run then. He might not even look. He might just take off.
That's big risk, big reward, though. I mean, that's huge. Because they always say you never want to be, if somebody's trying to carjack you, it's better to get shot and risk it, getting shot, because you do not want to be in a vehicle without any control and have somebody, especially a woman, you know what I mean? Like, don't let them put you in the trunk. Don't let them take your car. You fight, because a lot of these guys don't want to use the gun. They're just using it as a tool, but how do you know that? So yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling I'll be in that situation at some time. I don't know when. I don't want to.
I mean, I know there've been a lot of carjackings. I heard with Tesla, because if you're charging the car, can't move, can't drive off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think this was a couple weeks ago. I think they did an update where if in an emergency you can drive off. It's going to rip the cord out of the charger, but at least you can move.
Oh, so they're coming up saying get out of your car.
Yeah, and they can't drive.
Yeah,
because it's still plugged in. So like, oh damn, what do I do?
That's why you gotta, if you carry in your car, they sell this magnet holster that you can put underneath the steering wheel console.
Oh yeah,
where it's easy to grab. But a lot of the laws, like in California's carry gun law is really odd, where you can have it in your vehicle, but you can't be in reach of it and it can't be loaded.
Yeah, Georgia's had a. I haven't checked up on it lately. It's like it's got to be like a 2-step procedure to get it loaded. So you got to like have the mag out and whatnot. I was like, I'm not doing that. But what makes no sense is you can have a revolver loaded. It's like the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, why do I have it? The guns in California, the only ones you can buy are on a registry, and which is such a money grab. Like California tries to come off as their, this safety state, and they're doing it for the kids. And some of the things I agree with, the way that the guns are built, and, a lot of these guns that don't normally have safeties like SIGs, they have safeties on them. The ARs have to have paddles or have a lower caliber. They can't be 380s or 9 mils. You can buy a 22 MPX, but I'm going, well, a 22 can kill somebody. Just like, what's the difference? But if the magazine is not in the gun and you have one in the chamber, it won't fire.
Oh, I've heard of those before.
Right. And that's a safety feature, which I get. If you've got a gun, you forget, you leave one in the chamber, the mag's out, kid picks it up, or you pick it up, blah. But if you're in a situation and you've gone through everything in the mag and you have one in the chamber, and that's the only thing that's going to save your ass, and you're like, damn, I can't fire this because these stupid rules. That sucks.
I think it'll still fire though if the magazine is empty, as long as it's in there.
As long as the magazine's in there. But if it's not,
so you can still get your last bullet, but if you have it out, you're screwed. Well, I mean, that's how that one dude in Tiger King died, because they said, a Ruger can't fire with one in the chamber in the magazine out. And he's like, look at this. And he shot himself, killed himself.
Yeah, not smart. It was not a good move.
Don't try it. Yeah, don't try it.
No, not a good move at all. So you got the Menendez brothers. There should be a Benson Hedges one. There's a Prince documentary that I guess has been sitting on the shelf forever that probably will not see the light of day because of Prince's people. But then you've got the big one that's up there right now on top of the Menendez is the Mr. McMahon docuseries. So Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, the former genius of wrestling, period, the end of story, right? WWF, WWE, buys WWF from his father back in the day and makes it into what it is today, sports entertainment, mortgages everything in his house to have WrestleMania 1, believes in it, creates these larger than life heroes like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage and all these different people. So this docuseries was shot before all of the allegations came down about sexual harassment and him paying people off. And, he went through the ringer. I mean, like when he became, Mr. McMahon, and WWF became WWF after WrestleMania 1, like the hammer came down. People were going after him. There were sexual abuse allegations back then. He was paying people off. There was the Dr. D. David Schultz slapping the reporter. There was Hulk Hogan choking out Richard Belzer. There were all these different lawsuits that they settled out of court. So they started getting hit by everybody because they were the big guys on campus. And then, so they do this docuseries on Mr. McMahon, on Vince McMahon, and it's supposed to be about, all the different things that wrestling has given us, the screw job, the attitude era, these different wrestlers and how they came to fame and how he built his business and him as a father and him as a husband and this and that. So they have all this footage, but before they released it, Vince McMahon steps down, sells the company, is looked at as the worst person in the world because of the stories about former female employees and the things that would go on and the lawsuits that came about. So I think he's kind of, come out and said, hey, look, I don't condone that. I have nothing to do with this. This is not me. But as a wrestling fan, even if not as a wrestling fan, it's pretty interesting. I mean, say what you want about Vince McMahon, and if all these allegations are true, that's horrible. But it's one of those conversations where you have to look at and go, the mindset then versus the mindset now, right? It was locker room. It was, people were banging people left and right. It just happened. Now, there's a lot of allegations that there was some forceful banging, which is never, okay. And I'm not sticking up for the guy. I'm just saying the story's interesting as it's told, because this story can be told a million times over. What we were doing in the 80s and 90s, this is like kind of what I said yesterday or on the 254, episode 254, is, when I went to go visit my daughter and I'm meeting all these boys, it just seems like that generation, the 19, 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, it's not as sexually charged as what we were in the 80s and even in the 90s, and probably even in the 70s as well. And then you go into, free love in the 60s and all that kind of stuff. It's just a different mindset. So when you talk about the locker room mentality now to somebody, especially, like one of those softies that are out there, they don't get it. They don't understand it. And because you lived it and you were possibly most likely a part of it, you're a horrible person. Gen X, my generation, even the baby boomers, especially the baby boomers, actually, we're like horrible people because of our mindset then. I mean, we went out looking for chicks. All we had on our minds when we were younger was sex. Sex, 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 sex. And what would we do? Let's get her drunk. We want her to get drunk. She knew she was getting drunk. She would get drunk. There's a difference between partying and sexual assault, right? I'm not talking about the same thing, but now it's kind of meshed into one, right? It's like when you tell a story of like, dude, we go out there and get these chicks so drunk and high, they had no idea what they were doing. You say that out loud to somebody now, they're like, oh my God, you're a rapist. I'm like, no, we partied. Like these Diddy freak-offs, they're like, okay, the things, locking the doors, horrible. A lot of horrible things that go on. But there's a lot of things with these freak-offs that were like, you knew where you were going. You knew what you were doing. Like, you trying to tell me that this woman that was flown on a private jet didn't know what she was getting herself into, right? She knew she was going to have sex. She had to have known that. There's no reason why you're invited to a party of a celebrity that you don't know and you're good looking for any other reason. Do you think they want to just talk to you?
Like, yeah, our buddy Bill, he can't man the grill. We're gonna fly you in so you can cook these burgers for us.
Like, you have to know what the ulterior motive is. And if you're cool with that, you go. Now, when it gets to the level of like what Diddy was doing, and if there were, like roofing and locking doors and bouncers forcing, that's, so then you start to talk about that's horrible, right? That's different. But even if you were to have the conversation of like, I can't tell you how many parties we'd go to and girls will get trashed and guys would have sex with them. And the next day, there would be a regret, maybe from the guy, maybe from the girl or whatever. But that was life. That was part of it. That was the growing pains of being young and stupid. There was no force sex. It was just, we got drunk, we got out of our minds, didn't know what we were doing, and we did it. And we regret it. Boom. That's it. But nobody did something against anybody else's will, that kind of thing. The Vince McMahon stuff, he definitely used his power to do it. Again, that's not uncommon. It happens all the time. When you go and meet someone, girl or guy, both sides, why do you talk about who you are and what you do? You want to impress the other person, right? It's a power trip. You're trying to power trip the other person into believing that you're special. It's a power trip. That's all you're doing, Now, if you work at an establishment, this happens all the time. Still probably today that happens all the time. You work for your boss, there's probably some type of attraction to your boss because he's in control. Guy or girl, right? He or she is in control. It's a power trip. You find that attractive. You want to be, dominated or whatever the case may be. Or you feel like, oh, I can get the boss. I've known many bosses that have hooked up with employees, and some of them married them, to be honest with you. And it wasn't a thing, it wasn't a thing. So it's just the mindset is very interesting. But then you get where you screwed up, Mr. McMahon. If some of these allegations are true of forcefully doing these types of things, you're like, that's not the same thing as hey, we're just partying here, have some liquor. This is I'm forcing you against your will, and that's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait to see how that comes out, but it's kind of crazy. Like, what are we going to be getting prosecuted for that we're doing today in 20 years? Like, you were doing that back then. You were doing podcasting. Like, that's the word of Satan now. Like, you can't be doing that. They link podcast to underground rituals. Like, we didn't know that. We weren't doing that. We're just talking, man.
And let me tell you something, for anyone in the younger generation that thinks you know it all because of this mindset of the world today, I promise you it will change when you get older, and the things that you're saying now and fighting against will be different in 20 years, 30 years, and you will be in the same situation with a younger generation. History repeats itself. It happens all the time. That's why I don't sweat it. I remember telling somebody, they asked me, they're like, God, when is this going to stop? And I said, it's a cycle. It just changes. It
just restarts. Doesn't stop. Starts over.
It just restarts. It's a cycle. It just keeps going. There's always something new. At the time of this recording, God, there's been a lot of deaths. And I just read that the Dikembe Mutombo died.
Is that a fighter?
The Dikembe Mutombo, dude, you're a Georgia boy. Atlanta Hawks.
I don't watch basketball.
8-time, probably one of the famous, if not most famous Atlanta Hawk ever to play.
Yeah, it's close. Fighter. I knew he was some kind of sport.
8-time NBA All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year 4 times. He played for the Nuggets, the Hawks, the 76ers, the Nets, the Knicks, and the Houston Rockets.
Yeah,
He's
all over the place.
Yeah, but the Dikembe Mutombo was part of that story that I always tell, that I probably get a little screwed up, with Steve Koonin. Very, very nice man, very powerful man, very rich man. But he told me the story when I moved to Atlanta about how creativity equals currency. And then when he was a young man, he was in liquor sales, and he had been offered a promotion. But in order to take the promotion, he had to move out of Atlanta, and he didn't want to do that. He had just gotten married to his wife, Edie, who he still to this day is married to. Very nice woman, very successful woman in real estate in Atlanta. And so he had an idea. He had known that Coke was getting ready to lose its deal with Church's Fried Chicken. So he called the president of Coca-Cola. And he just happened to call at the time where the secretary wasn't there to answer the phone. This was like back in the 80s. And so he answered the phone. And he says, hey, you don't know me, but I got an idea. I know about this. And I know you guys are having problems with Church's Fried Chicken and blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, okay, I'm open to your idea. And he pitched this crazy idea that for $5, you could get a Coke, a fry, and chicken legs. And we'll call it the Dikembe Mutombo meal deal. And then also you have the option of Coke, fries, and wings, and we'll call it the Spud Webb meal deal. It was extremely popular. It saved the account for Coca-Cola and created the first ever meal deal. He created the meal deal, right? Which it wasn't a thing until they did this. And so that the story, the point of him telling me that story was very motivational. He said, anytime you have an idea, stick with the idea, pitch the idea, because creativity equals currency. And not everyone has your idea. Most likely no one has your idea. So if you can find somebody to buy into your idea, if you really honestly believe into your creative idea, then go with it, run with it, and it will pay off tenfold. And he did that. So anyway.
Wait, so the legs part was just because he had long legs or he played basketball?
Yeah, dude was like 6'8".
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was just legs.
Yeah, and Spud Webb was like 5'9", so he had the wings, that was the whole gimmick.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty
that
good.
Makes more sense.
But, so you got him, you got the Chris Christopherson died this week. You had what was the guy from Beverly Hills Cop? John Ashton?
Oh yeah, I did see him die.
He died. Is that right? Ashton? Yeah, John Ashton died. He was the he was opposite Judge Reinhold in Beverly Hills Cop. He was also the dad in Some Kind of Wonderful, if you remember that movie, which was awesome. He was in Midnight Run. He was awesome. He was a great actor. He died at 76. I think there was somebody else that died too, like He was in Gone Baby Gone. He was in the A-Team, like the television show. Little Big League, Trapped in Paradise. He was in The Shooter. That's right. He was in a lot of stuff. John Ashton was, but Beverly Hills Cop was his big thing.
Yeah, I feel like now's not too bad of a time to die.
What, 76?
No, I just meant the month, like almost October, getting into fall.
No, you want to die during the summer.
What?
Yeah, you don't want to die during the winter because you got the holidays. So then, it ruins everybody's holidays.
Well, see, I was thinking about summer is that you're going to ruin vacations and it's hot. Be out there hot and stinking.
Yeah, but the number one priority is Christmas or Thanksgiving because that's when all the families get together. So this will, they got to look at that chair that's going to be empty. They got to, the traditions that you had during the holidays, it's not going to be there. It just ruins it. I don't know if you've ever been a part of a ruined Christmas. It sucks. It's like the saddest thing you could ever do. Have you ever been a part of a really crappy Christmas?
Yeah, my grandpa died. It was like a month before Christmas, month and a half. That was rough. And then when my parents got divorced, that one sucked. And now I don't really do Christmas. It's kind of ruined it for me. Yeah.
Well, right, exactly. See, there you go. It ruined Christmas. Like as soon as the tradition breaks, Christmas is ruined. Thanksgiving's ruined. And those are the two big holidays. So you don't want to die. You don't want to die in September. You want to die in October. You want to die going into the new year. And so they have enough time to recoup. Your family and friends can recoup.
Well, you don't want it too early at the beginning of the year because, stuff starting back up, new jobs, maybe going back to school, maybe like a March.
I don't know. I think like a January, February is a really good time to die. Like, especially February. Like now dying around Valentine's Day is good because then if you're like your significant other, you would ruin that day for them, for anybody else. And that's what you want to do, right? You want to make sure that the next person that they find, you ruin that relationship because you don't want it. You don't want them with anybody else,
Yeah.
That's why you try to live as long as you can. There is no way I could be on my deathbed at this age, knowing that there's going to be another dude in my wife's life. It's going to drive me insane. It would crush. It would kill me. It would crush me. So I was like,
finish you off.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd find a miracle. There's no way. I got too much protecting to do. I just can't have somebody else in my bed. It's just not going to happen. Touching my stuff, going through my clothes, probably spending my money. Yeah, it's not going to happen. There's just no way, shape, form, or fashion. I can't let that happen. So yeah, so that's sad. So anyway, Menendez Brothers, really good on Netflix. Mr. McMahon on Netflix, good. They should make a Benson murder on Netflix. So any of you documentarians out there that are looking for an idea that I don't believe anyone has touched, that's a good one. Just because I was there, the house is still there, I believe.
You should do your own little mini docuseries. How far away is it from where you live now?
No, Naples is about probably 4 hours away.
Oh yeah. If you're ever in that area, just get some footage real quick and do a little 10-minute presentation.
Do a 60-second reel called a docu-reel.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll invent the docu-reel. I'll just do a bunch of different reels, and I'll just about the benches and the hedges. I'll release them. It's a 10-part reel series. It's 10 minutes long. And so
hey, if you got the fancy captions, you got pictures that pop up on the screen like a regular documentary, people might watch it. You might not know about it.
Oh my God, that's actually not a bad idea. Docu-reels. That's a buzzy word. That's a buzzy term.
Yeah, it's just quick.
Never been, not that I know of. The only thing I can think of is that's close was that woman that was on TikTok that got famous because she was talking about her divorce and she had a string of videos.
Oh yeah.
Right. But she didn't package it as a docu-reel series. So you could release one a day and have as many as you want and say, this is a 30-part docu-reel series. It's 30 minutes long. Each reel is 59 seconds. And even though I think you go to 90 seconds, right? But, and just have start off and go whatever. And you got to make sure you do what all these other documentaries are doing is they put that timeline thing in where they go forward and they go back and it's like a radio dial. Every single freaking documentary has it. And everyone starts the same way where they're sitting down and they're getting mic'd up with their lavalier microphone, and they're not ready yet. And they say, "Hey, how do I look? Is this, you think people are going to believe this?" And then they go into it.
Yeah.
You got to have that kind of footage. A docu-reel. God, that's brilliant. You're going to steal it.
You could do it. I say if you do one reel, like people will do that now. Basically they just take old documentaries and they just cut them up into a bunch of parts and post them. But if you did your own, put your own pizzazz on it, they might like it. And now TikTok, you can post up to 60 minutes. Isn't that crazy?
60 minutes for one TikTok?
Yeah. I guess they're trying to be like a YouTube or something.
Yeah, that's like a movie.
That's a long time to be watching one TikTok.
So have you noticed that I've changed my titles on the YouTube videos?
No, I haven't checked in a couple of days. What'd you change it to?
It's amazing the difference. Just because I would usually use the title of, because my objective is for anything that I post is for that you guys will go and listen to the episode. And there's still confusion on how to get the podcast, which is cool. I get it. I understand. It's a learning curve, so people are like, I'm trying to listen to Tuesday's episode, or I'm trying to listen to Thursday's episode and it won't play. Well, because those are for subscribers. You can be a subscriber. You go to thebaileyshow.com. It's very simple. They're like, well, I'm on Apple or I'm on iHeart and I can't get it. Well, because our subscriptions are through Spotify, you have to go through the link that is off thebaileyshow.com. And those episodes are only on Spotify. Now, Mondays, Honey, I Raised the Kids, and Wednesdays, this episode is on all platforms. And you can get it because they're free. They're not subscription-based episodes. We do that so you subscribe to not only get Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, but the hundreds of episodes that are already up there, thousands of hours of content that you would get if you're interested. That's the whole point. So when I post these videos every day, and Buddy, our video guy, he does a good job of putting the videos together, right? And so when I post them up there, the title, I usually use the title of the episode, because I want you to go to that episode. But I realized that for people that aren't in our community, that aren't two peers, they're not interested in it. It's like it doesn't grab them. So I got to come up with all these goofy tease titles. And so I was looking through the numbers on YouTube and even Instagram, you could see the difference is like versus me putting the BS episode, like in this case, 254, and we'll title it, it's cool. You're a bad parent. It's cool to kill your parents or something, whatever I put up.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of all that and just put up there, it's cool to kill your parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could put, were the Menendez brothers right? A good question. People like that too. Especially now with the docuseries, they're probably going to be looking it up. Like, who are these Menendez brothers? Any other videos?
Right.
I would try to do that. One of our greatest ones is that I think the ATF is on to us. That's a good one. They're like, oh God, what's going on with this?
Yeah, you're right. The question ones worked out. I get a lot. I think I get more views on the honey videos than I do the BS videos, which is crazy. I got a lot on the one from Jacoby recently because we got that extra love from alternativenation.net. But hold on, how do I get to here? Let's go to the channel. Okay, so let me give you some examples.
Oh, I also did one. It was back during the championship last year. I think I did something like Nick Saban in the national championship of something. Just those words just were popular at the time. People be typing in championship in Alabama and Nick Saban.
Oh, here's one. Do you know about the Grease Pussy Wagon? That was a big hit.
That's good.
Yeah.
See, I don't know about putting pussy wagon up there. It's a dirty word, isn't it?
Here's one. Here's one for the Honey I Raised the Kids. Here's a question for you. That's all I put up there. And it's got thousands of views.
Are you putting anything in front of it, or is it just one word? Because I know for a while you're doing like full show or EP168 and that.
Yeah, I stopped doing that. Like this one, I put Hurricane Comfort, and that's got a lot of views.
Are these reels or full videos you're talking about?
I'm looking at shorts right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
just talking YouTube. Just YouTube.
Yeah. No, I think the ideal is like probably like 5 words, just something that people might type in, something close to it, just so YouTube knows where to categorize it. Like, who am I supposed to show this to because people aren't typing in full show EP 170 or whatever.
Yeah, but it's funny, like the Josh Gates, he's very popular. People love Josh Gates. You know, that has got 14,000 views. And I put up there the BS episode 65, Josh Gates.
Yeah, see that one though, it's got Josh Gates in it. So it's like that's a name that can associate with someone's like, okay, well, this guy, Josh Gates, has his own YouTube channel and there's a bunch of videos of him you know, doing stuff.
Yeah. And then the one with me and Petunia, the number one place for new content, which the SEO company had me do, that's got like over 20,000 views. That's crazy. The Matt Wright guy from Australia, he was a big one too.
Yeah, because some Australian paper did a article on it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot of these are with celebrities, and you know, I get it, it's the celebrity thing, but I didn't think people dug the celebrities that much. Like I can get more celebrities on the show.
Like I said, I think it's the name part that helps a lot because that name's already, I mean, it's one name. You know, you got Josh Gates. There's not another Josh Gates that's going to pop up when you look for him. It's going to be that guy doing whatever he does. So,
yeah.
And if you got, you know, YouTube, the algorithm will go through, it'll watch the video itself. It'll see, you know, the quality and everything. And they'll be like, oh, we like this video that associates with Josh Gates. Let's put this one up a little higher if people look for it.
Yeah, I guess so. Some of the interviews that I've had come through, though, they've been really good. We are going to have Brad Stewart, the bassist for Saliva, on this week. He should be on tomorrow's released episode 255. He's a friend. He's the original bassist for Shinedown. He's got a lot of great stories. Just a good dude. I just thought I'd have him on just so we can, you know, BS with him. But Saliva is obviously our headliner for Podcast and Pours 4, Saturday, December 14th in Orlando at Elixir off Washington. Those tickets available at thebaileyshow.com. So I don't know how much Brad Stewart's going to pull, but next week we'll have Pete Evick on, the guitarist for Bret Michaels. And if anybody's following that drama, that's interesting. And I've known Pete for a long time, and I've never seen Pete act the way he's been acting lately on social media, going after Ricky Rocket. And I don't even know the whole story because, like, I guess Poison announced this big tour next year and then something didn't happen. And I think because of Brett's health or something, and Ricky Rocket said something, and then Pete went after him, and it was like, it turned out to be this big thing. So I was like, dude, you got to come on and explain what's going on here, because I don't understand it. Yeah. So he's like, all right, that's cool. He's like, I got gigs, but I can come on next week. I was like, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, Brandon, are you ready for your?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
One question with Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon!
All right, Brandon, what's your one question?
All right, so I showed y'all the other day that my right Hey Dude has a hole in it and it's getting bigger, but my left shoe does not. So something's going on here. So do I either weigh more on my right side or do I use my right leg more? Is that possible? Either one of those?
Yes, it's extremely possible, and it's most likely possible. Have you ever gone to a chiropractor?
No.
All right, I bet you if you go to a chiropractor, they'll tell you you're lopsided.
Oh, really? You think so?
I know so. Every time I go, I'm lopsided.
Well,
They
see,
have to straighten you out.
I would think I'd be lopsided on my left leg because when they put the rod in, they said I still had like another half inch to grow, and they had to break that growth plate. So my left leg's a little shorter than my right. So I think I'd be on my left a little more.
What rod are you talking about?
Oh, I got rod going through my leg, metal rod.
Why?
Yeah, you don't remember when I broke my leg? Tip fib fracture on a homemade dirt bike. Whole bottom part of my leg was flopping around. Had to get a metal rod beat in there, and I got a big old scar on my ankle from where the cash rubbed a hole all the way down to my tendon.
That's badass, dude. So when you go to the airport, it goes off every time?
No, it doesn't. Now I was kind of disappointed too. I don't know what kind of metal they used, or maybe their metal detectors ain't working too right, but it never goes off.
Dude, you're like the Wolverine or something. You got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. So the metals in, okay, let's walk me through this again. So the metals in your left leg.
Yep, and that leg's a little shorter than my right leg, but my right leg, my right shoe is the one that seems to be getting worn down more.
It makes sense because you're not flat. So one of your legs is going to rub. Yeah, it might also be how you walk. You might walk like I don't know, weird, like a duck or something. I don't know. Do you drag your foot?
Not really. I know my left leg kind of kicks out to the left. It kind of turns left a little bit, but it's I don't know. I thought we used both our feet the same, like as many steps on both shoes. But now I'm thinking I got somehow more steps on my right shoe than I do my left shoe.
So no one ever believes me when I say this. Like if you're right-handed, most of us drive with our left arm, right? Our left hand, right? Your right arm.
I swap.
Well, very few of us drive like, what is it, 10-2 or whatever it is with both, nobody drives like that. So if you're driving, most of the time, the majority of the time, you're driving with your left hand, correct?
Yeah, unless I want to lean my arm out the window.
Right. But the majority of the time, you're driving with your left arm.
I wouldn't say majority. I say it's fairly split, honestly.
All right. Well, you're a weirdo. I would say the majority of people drive with their left arm, which means that your left pec is going to be bigger than your right pec. And whenever I tell people that, they think I'm crazy. I'm like, why would that be crazy? It makes sense. If you're exercising your left arm more than your right arm, if you're driving a lot and you've got your left arm going back and forth, that also works your pec. It's almost like doing a weird fly, and they're like, why is my left pec stronger or bigger than my right pec? That's the reason why. No one ever believes me. No one, they think I'm crazy when I tell that story. So you have to figure out what you're doing on your right leg more than your left leg. I can't help it.
I'm trying to think, when I get out of the truck, do I put my right foot down first when I hop out? And do I leave my right foot on the ground when I get back in? That might be where I'm picking up extra steps now that I think about it.
Well, not only that, but what about maybe getting out of bed, well, you wouldn't be wearing shoes in bed.
Yeah, I'm not wearing shoes. Yeah.
What about getting off the toilet? You pop up with your right foot?
I think they're both on the ground. I think I just kind of stand up.
When you're going up steps, you always put your right foot first. So you're getting more steps with your right foot than your left foot?
Yeah, I think I do put my right foot up first.
Probably.
But my left foot's got to come. It's got to come with me.
Yeah, it's got to come. It's eventually got to come with you. Yeah, but maybe there's, let's just say there's not enough steps for your left foot. And over time, your hey dude's got worn out because your right foot is getting 10 steps while your left foot's getting 9.
Oh, I could be like walking up to a door and then stopping and turn around, coming back down with the right foot again.
Yeah. Now you got to pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's going to freak me out now.
There's content for you. Do a docu-reel on why your right hey dude is blah, blah, blah. And you can go through everything that you do that could be the reason and then figure it out.
Yeah, I wonder if I got a pedometer for each shoe, would they read different? Or if I took a right step, would it count for that? Because I know normally you put it on your hip, on your waistband.
Do they make pedometers for shoes?
I don't know. I used to have a little red clip on one that you put on the waistband.
Yeah.
I don't know. I put it on my shoe, but so we're thinking it's walking. You don't think like my right side weighs more?
What about your right testicle? Is it bigger?
I don't think so. And that hangs in the middle too. So I think that's even.
Well, sometimes those sweaty days, it gets stuck to your inner thigh.
They're just both to the right.
Away. Do your balls stick to your right thigh?
It's just all shifted to the right.
You could walk like sideways.
Yeah, I might see. I don't know. Like I said, I know when I stand straight up and down, it hurts to put my toes like that. Like my left foot will turn out a little bit from my surgery.
So here's what you do: get an old pair of shoes, right, and put some paint on the bottom of them, and walk around, and see if it's and see if there's like the right foot is darker, like there's more paint on the right foot than there is the left foot.
You talking about like paint the bottom and walk up the street?
Yeah, just like go to some area and just pour some paint out, step in the paint with your shoes, and then just start walking around, preferably on a hard surface like asphalt, and see if the right imprint is darker than the left imprint.
Oh, like you're putting more pressure on it?
Like you're putting more pressure on it. And then you'll find out if you're lopsided. I guarantee you're lopsided. If you've never been straightened out, you're lopsided. That's the best thing. You go to a chiropractor and they'll put you down on the table and they'll have your feet and they'll see how even your feet are. And they'll go, okay, your right side. And then they'll adjust you and you can feel your body shift. It is such a good feel. Oh my God. It's so good.
See, I see all those videos though on the internet of them like doing these weird pops. And I'm like, oh God, one wrong one. And I'm broken.
Oh, you sleep so well, dude. When your body's in sync, and it's just, feels so good. Do that and get back to us. But that's a good one. I can't, my answer to your one question, Brandon, is that you're lopsided. That's the only thing I got for you. There's no other answer for it, is other than that you're lopsided.
So you think I should call the chiropractor with that question? Be like, you think that would help me out? My right shoe wearing down more.
Dude, I just pop in. You want to go to a chiropractor if you ever get up to East Cobb, 100% chiropractic in the Stinky Kroger Plaza. Dr. April, she's amazing. Just pop in there, call up there, say, I want to make an appointment, tell her we're friends, and she'll adjust you. And she's great. She's awesome.
I don't know when I'll be in East Cobb again, but maybe.
But I mean, sure, you got a chiropractor in Newton. Just go. They got the Joint, those places.
Yeah, how often do you go to chiropractor? I've never been to one. Kind of, like I said, they kind of freak me out.
I used to go once a month. I used to go to her once a month, but I haven't been in a while. I haven't been in well over a year. So, we're thinking of, almost slipped. I almost slipped on something. Yeah, you almost got me, but I'm not going to tell you what I almost slipped on, because then you know something that I don't want you to know just yet, but you're going to know very, very soon. But you should always have a chiropractor. Anyway, look, thebaileyshow.com. Tickets for Podcast and Pours 3, Saturday, October 12th. It's coming up. Tannery Row, Beaufort, Georgia. Chuck's band Distinct Grace will be headlining. We are looking for contestants right now that want to be in the $1,000 cash and prizes acoustic karaoke contest. So reach out to either me or Chuck or Brandon if you want to be in it, so we can get your song ready to rock and roll, and you can win all kinds of good stuff. Brandon's going to be doing his song. We're going to have some fun. We're going to be drinking. We're going to be eating. We're going to have our sponsors out there. It's going to be a blast. And thanks to Inspect All Pest Services and Alternate Power Solutions for being our title sponsors for Podcast and Pours 3. But get those tickets now so we can get a gauge on how many people are going to show up. I don't want to be out there with 20 people. All right. And hotel, look, the Beaufort Inn Lodge, reach out to Chuck. He refuses to give me the information, but he says there's rooms available there. Now, Saturday, December 14th, that's Podcast and Pours 4. We're going to do that in Orlando. We have hotels available from the Hilton. The link to book is on thebaileyshow.com under the Podcast and Pours section. They're like $119 a night. Really cheap. Select group of rooms. So get them while you can. Right now, and I haven't gotten an update on ticket sales, but the last time that I checked, we were almost sold out of the tier 2 tickets, which were going for only $20. So once they're gone, they go to $25 and then 30 and then 35. And then day of show, I think they're going to be like 40 or somewhere around that. Just get them early, right? Whether you're in or around Orlando or you're traveling like some of you all are, which I appreciate greatly. I need you there. It's a really cool venue. And we have Saliva, the band Saliva, doing a special acoustic performance. They very rarely do this. This is going to be really, really cool. A really cool event. And I need everybody there. Chuck's band Distinct Grace will open up. If you're a company and you want to sponsor it and have a tent set up at the venue, let's talk. I can totally make that happen. I'm getting new t-shirts made. I should have them for 3 and definitely 4 to give out. So that'll be really, really cool. So all those details and to get tickets for Podcast and Pours 3 and 4 on thebaileyshow.com. This is what we call a freebie episode. So if you dug, us just BSing and chit-chatting and whatnot, there's thousands of hours of content that you can unlock. And then, of course, you'll get more episodes in the weeks, months, years to come, as long as this thing lasts, right? Please subscribe to the podcast and support what we're doing. It's only $4.99 a month, and you can go to thebaileyshow.com and do that quickly and easily, just like everybody else does. Join the private BS 2 Peers Facebook group. Just search for the BS 2 Peers and you can find it. Really cool conversation. We've got a chat that we're all in on and ask questions and tell jokes and share memes. It's really, really cool. Subscribe to the newsletter, YouTube channel, and of course, all of our social media. Please like, share, and follow. And when I say that, I know I kind of go quickly over it, but if you guys don't do that for us, nobody's going to find out about us that doesn't know. So please share our content if you can, whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. Just find a way to share it with somebody in your network and say, hey, give this show a listen. give it a try. We're waiting for our lightning in the bottle moment. We've been doing really, really well lately with the expansion on WJRR in Orlando and Planet Radio in Jacksonville now. So a condensed version of the week shows are on both of those radio stations Saturday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not in the Orlando or Jacksonville area, you can always listen on the iHeartRadio app, which we hope you do. Please follow their social medias and give us a pop. Say, hey, man, digging what you guys are doing on Saturday. So like the advantage that we have, and I tried to do this when I was in California, they just didn't like it. Because you guys remember when they first added music to the show in California and you hated it? And you on your own went and said what you wanted to say because you didn't like, because you knew that was not my thing. I didn't tell you to do it. You just did it. I got in a lot of trouble for that, and I loved every second of it. They didn't believe me that I had nothing to do with it. Like, I guess one of you found the boss's email. I don't know how you found, like, it's not difficult to find. I even think it's on the website. But they're like, you're giving out his email. Like, no, I'm not. But they didn't believe me. That's just how they were. But I love stuff like that. I love when you guys take over and take control. So let's do it in a positive way. Go to the WJR Facebook or whatever, and go to the Planet Radio and just say, hey, you're digging the show. Because people see that, and we're hoping to even expand from that. So the more you guys are with us, which I know you are, it just takes a little extra effort on your guys' part to do that. We can do some really cool stuff, but we can't do it on our own. That's the thing. You need an army. And so I think we have enough two peers and diehards of what we do in order to accomplish this. So please do one or all of those things. A lot of you are really good at it. Like Garrett's really, really good at it. Chris is good at it. Tara and Vanessa are just phenomenal at it. Sparky's good at it. So a lot of you are really, really good at it, but I know more of you can be good at it. Right. So please help us out. All right, Brandon, you got anything before we get out?
If you're mean to your kids, make sure you're poor so they don't kill you for money.
No joke. Yeah. Be nice to your kids. That's the lesson to learn from this episode. This episode of the BS. Be nice to your kids, because if not, later in life, they will take shotguns and kill you 16 times over like the Menendez brothers did. So next time your kid wants that extra piece of chicken or piece of pizza or some candy, let them have it. If not, you're getting a shotgun blast to your head. All right. Have yourself a great, safe rest of your day. As always, appreciate the support. Talk to you soon. Hey, bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out thebaileyshow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!"
What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at thebaileyshow.com.
Yeah, baby.